Call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Where is it?
I don't know.
We need to make sure it's there.
I know.
I'll text Joey right now.
Keep on TV, can't see.
Just waiting for my board docs to load up. Call for a motion for the acceptance of the minutes of the January 12th.
So moved.
Second.
Nope, correction, sorry. That's the misprint. Motion to accept the minutes of December 22nd, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Public forum for this evening. We welcome our reporter, Chris Rowley. Welcome. Move on to reports and correspondence. Just like to point out to everybody out there that the decision to delay or close schools in the midst of a snow event rests solely with the superintendent. It's not one that she takes lightly. I can assure you of that. She works on from 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes right up through. She does not take lightly and will never take lightly, and she will never jeopardize the health and safety of any member of this district. She errs on the side of caution, and I think it's you know, unwarranted and certainly unprofessional to say that the superintendent does not care about people in this district. That is anything but the contrary is certainly true here, and that is that she cares about everybody. And she makes it her business. And if I know for a fact, I've argued with her in the past about, you know, she said the joke is if she sees a snowflake, she delays. But I know if she does not cancel or close school, I could probably much get my golf clubs and go out and play golf because it must be sunny and 55 or 60 out, because she takes it so seriously. And I think that, you know, it's hard, and people need to bear in mind that it's a responsibility she does not take lightly. She goes above and beyond when she makes this decision. And if there was any case that she thought for a second that that the safety was going to be jeopardized, she would close in a heartbeat. And I think that we need to bear that in mind when there's criticisms out there. We don't know what she has to go through and the decision she has to make. She's talking to a lot of different people when she makes this decision. So that's all I have to say on the matter. Anybody else this evening? Nothing on board membership. Superintendent Lisa Wiles.
So just a few things. In the packet, there's a notice from the Ulster County School Boards Association. On January 28th, there'll be a meeting via Zoom. The agenda includes New York State Assemblymen and senators. They'll be there to talk about the budget process and to give us some insight on what the discussions are. This is a typical meeting in January. Usually we go up to Ulster County. They have been doing their meetings via Zoom. And I'll have Nafisa call you to just remind you about the meeting. But if you can connect into this meeting, that would be a good one too. I plan on attending it. I had a conflict for the last one, but they had Dr. Smith from the Ulster County Health Department and the county executive at the last meeting. So this meeting looks promising. I know our new senator will be, he was invited and someone will be attending, it looks like. So just a heads up that that's coming up on January 28th. I think it's 6 o'clock or 6:30. We'll be posting some pictures on our Facebook site and also our Instagram site. If you remember back in the fall, we talked about new athletic banners and we brought some samples in. They've arrived and we'll be posting up just to let the public know. I think there's been some confusion because the banners have come down, the old banners, but the new ones are up now and the gym really looks nice. So we'll get some pictures out to you and to the public. We are preserving the old banners. We're working with Mr. Moyer right now to make sure they're stored in a safe location so we have them. But the new ones really do look beautiful.
Mrs. Wiles,
Mhm.
is it possible to offer them up to the people, the individual ones? Walter Mosley, maybe his family would like it.
Yeah.
I know that there's some people, Rubenstein, the golf champ, maybe they would like those rather than us just
Yeah.
putting them in storage.
If the board, is up for that, we can look at different options to see what we could do. So let's bring some, we'll bring some options back to you.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And the final thing I have, there's information that has started to be provided out to our parents and students and staff members. I've had a couple of meetings this week regarding the reopening on January 19th. Remember, we took a holiday pause, and I just want to make a few comments about that. The reopening will be for K-12. Right now, it's where we are. Things are always with school and COVID, things are always subject to change. We're watching the numbers. I think people have to be prepared based on what has happened in other districts in our district. If the numbers go up, if we have quarantining issues, if we have isolation issues, we always will and can transition to remote learning when the circumstances present themselves. But I think it's important that while we're on track to come back on the 19th, we remember that everything is fluid and everything has to be flexible with all of our buildings and really all the schools in the county. I'm having a meeting with the superintendents tomorrow. We're in constant contact with the health department for guidance and their recommendations. But right now, today, as it stands, we're on track to return on the 19th. And what that means is that 7 through 12 will come back. There will be information posted up on our reopening website. Tomorrow morning, there'll be stuff up on Facebook so that you can make some, you can click into the links. And we also are doing mailings home to parents who don't have access to social media or the internet. 6th grade will revert back to the middle school schedule. They'll come in at the regular time of 7:45 to 2:45. That's when 2:34. That's their regular day. Will revert back to that. 6th grade will go back to the middle school schedule starting next Tuesday. And we'll be working through this, and there'll be more information to come. There's also some guidance that we had put out and a survey put out to our parents and staff regarding testing for COVID. Our school nurses have been all trained by the Ulster County Health Department. We have a memorandum of agreement on the agenda tonight to approve that agreement, which allows us to test under the license of the Ulster County Health Department. And we'll be testing when and if the 7-day rolling average rate goes above 9%. That's not a determination the school district will make. That will be a determination that the county health department, the county exec, and the governor all have a hand in. They will tell us when that does happen. In order to stay in-person instruction, we will have to test 20% of our students. That's what it appears. That's the last guidance we've received. But I will tell you that the guidance has changed and continues to change rapidly as the circumstances change. So we have put a form out, and we have had both paper responses and electronic responses by staff and our students and their parents about being tested. So we think we will meet that 20% testing threshold right now based on the numbers that we have. So we're looking forward to seeing our students, but we're also very cautious. And I'll say it, if I don't say it once, I'll say it a number of times. The health and safety of our students and our staff is paramount. And if we find out that we cannot, move forward, we will revert back and transition back to full remote for students. So that's where we are moving towards. It could change by the end of the week, depending upon what the numbers are and where we are. So just so you know.
Jody, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, so when we're going back K-12, all classes will not go back to normal, but we're going to have all classes. Gym will have a class, music, art. We're going to be able to do all those specials, or there's going to be how is it going to work, modifications for those?
I'm
Because I know
sorry.
sometimes some of our classrooms are larger, so
Yes, I know that Vince and the principals have walked through the buildings and done measurements, laid out desks. Vince, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
just so we can let our parents know that
Yeah.
we are taking all the precautions.
Sure. I believe, and I'll ask Kelly or Alicia to correct me on that, but some of the specials are still going to be remote. However, students will be changing classrooms between grades 6 through 12. We've measured all the classrooms, and if there is a case, for example, we've got 2 middle school science classes that we might have more than the number of students that can fit in a classroom. So let's say the lab can only fit 8, but if we have 9 students attend on that day, through a rotating basis, the 9th student would then go to a remote learning location, most likely the library. They would then remote into to that class for that period. And if it happens again tomorrow, it would be another student. So we are definitely prepared to have the students in all the classrooms on A cohort, B cohort. I have ordered plexiglass, well, they're acrylic dividers or sneeze guards for each student's desk. I expect them to be here this week, and the Buildings and Grounds team are going to try really hard to get them set up and in place for the opening of school on Tuesday. And we've already put them in the elementary school, and they've been pretty successful. So the students are behind a hard barrier. So if they need to take a mask break, they can. It gives them another barrier between the students next to them, in front of them, or behind them. Did I get all your questions? I know you.
Right.
I also want to say the specials
Yes. that's
for music and PE, and anytime there's any type of rigorous activity, the social distancing is 12 feet.
Right.
So I know, and even in the cafeteria too, I believe. 6 feet to 6 feet between, so the chorus and PE, 12 feet.
Okay.
We've measured out for that, just so parents in the community
So
know.
those classes are still going to happen though,
Yes,
as part of the
they're-
normal schedule.
Yes, but
We're
it's not going to be a traditional gym class.
Okay.
Okay, so what the requirements are for gyms and other facilities outside of school is very different than what the state has required for our schools. So we have to have a 12 feet social distancing in those types of classes. In the cafeteria, the desks will be set, there will be individual desks set up in the cafeteria, so that desks are 6 feet apart. And, you know, I'm not trying to discourage anybody. I just want to be very realistic. We are going to, work very hard to get all of our students back, those that have opted in. And it's still a choice for parents to opt into full remote for the balance of the year. So parents have that option. But school is not going to look like it did before COVID. There's a lot of restrictions. People have to wear masks. People have to social distance. We are really not going to tolerate any insubordination about that. People have to be safe. This is about the health and safety of people that choose to come to the building to learn. So this is, there's no overtown lunch. Students cannot leave the building and come back to the building during lunch. You get checked in, you do your screening, you spend your day learning and engaging with, teachers and so forth. But this is not, when I hear that, this is socially, it's not the same social that the kids have had in the past. It's different. It's good different based on the, where we are, but it's different. It's not, don't expect for this to be normal school, because it's not. There's a lot of health and safety precautions put in place here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good. Assistant Superintendent for Business, Mr. Napoli.
Thank you. I've reported out a few times already. We've been pretty successful with the Farm to School, and there's a letter in here to Matt Igo. He's the president of the Rondout Valley Growers Association. We're moving into the next phase. We want to actually apply for and partner with them for the planning grant, which is the actual Farm to School grant. We've got some really good initiatives going on now. They're working on planning a community garden, partnering with Family of Woodstock. We have the middle school principals gotten involved. We have some elementary school teachers that are involved with that. Some of the things that we were talking about, a meeting that we had the other day, working towards the 30% initiative, which is we would get more federal reimbursement and state reimbursement for any school lunch or breakfast that we serve, as long as 30% of the raw materials that go into planning or the development of the food that we serve our kids, we would get more money back in federal state reimbursement. So we're working on that 30% initiative. We tried it a couple of years ago. We didn't quite meet it. We were at like 29.05%, but we think we can get some local grains partnering with a really large bread maker that is out of Kingston. I'm not going to mention their name, but if you know who they are, we're gonna try to work with them to see if they can produce all of our buns and breads and all of that, because a lot of their materials are locally sourced out of New York. The grains are out of New York. So we're moving along pretty nicely with the Farm to School grant. And the other thing that I'd like to let everybody know is that we've ordered some high-tech devices as opposed to going with these handheld devices for temperature screening. We hope to have them in place by the time the students come back on Tuesday. If not, they will be in place by the end of next week. But it'll be able to handle somebody walking up to a device. It will screen their temp, and if their temperature is over 100.0 degrees, which is what we've been advised to use as from the Department of Health, if it's over 100.0 degrees, then they will be flagged on a computer, pulled to the side, and then screened by an administrator or by a nurse. But we'll be able to handle a lot more students and staff at a faster pace, and we hope to have them in place, like I said, by the time students return, if not by the end of next week, and we'll have them in all of the locations in all the lobbies.
Good. Glad to see that. John?
Mr. Napoli, is the Farm to School program the one that we lost last year on some sort of technicality or something? Didn't we have something last year that we didn't get at the last minute?
I know that there was a grant. I don't remember. I don't think it was the Farm to School grant. We have missed out on a couple of grant opportunities, but it wasn't the Farm to School grant because we're in one right now, and it's the pre-planning phase. And the grant that we're in right now is to help us plan to actually implement the Farm to School grant. I can't remember what you're talking about.
There was
Mr.
one
Burns.
that
Yeah.
I thought it was the same kind of thing, that we got extra funding and it was locally grown and things like that. But I thought we lost something last year or the year before.
We have. There's been a couple of things that we've applied for and that we haven't gotten. I can go back through my notes to see, because I keep every application for every grant that we apply for and whether we're successful or not. So you're right. I don't know if it's this one here, but I can certainly report back to you at the next board meeting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Napoli. Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Ms. Kelly White.
Good evening. Just a couple of things I want to report out on. The committees working on the district's comprehensive improvement plan are making some great progress. Today we worked on finalizing what we're prioritizing in our improvement plan for this year, which will be ELA and math progress for our students, chronic absenteeism, and finding ways to address student voice and increase the sense of belonging, as well as teacher voice and improve communication between teachers and administration. So once our plan is developed, which we're hoping it will be by the end of the month, it'll be submitted to the board for approval and then to the state, and that will allow us to complete our application for school improvement funds. Additionally, there was some information posted to the district website today. It also went out in a mailing regarding our partnership with IXL Learning, which is a tool that we're using to monitor students' progress in ELA and math. At the current time, we have students K through 12 participating and taking the IXL diagnostic, and that test will pinpoint our students' current grade level equivalency in math and ELA. And that data is really helpful right now since the state assessments were canceled last year. And we didn't do STAR testing at last year or at the start of this year. So we will have some up-to-date data in terms of where our students stand with their grade level performance in math and ELA. What's great about the program, and this is outlined in a letter that went out to the parents, was that the program will identify the skills that the student needs to work on to make progress towards grade level equivalency and beyond. And the teacher can also recommend skills for the child to work at, so they're working on grade level standards as well. So we'll be monitoring student progress using this program over the next year and reporting to the state at different required intervals, and also be using the data to determine what instructional supports are needed for students and staff. Additionally, we just to update on the district was notified that there is a access to additional family and community engagement program funds for the My Brother's Keeper initiative. So Frank Mulhern is going to be working with Ulster BOCES on the grant application, which is due on February 1st. So we did notify the state that we intend to apply, and I'll keep you guys notified of the process throughout the application. If our application is approved, it would be for $125,000 per year for a 5-year period, and the district would be required to match 25% of that.
Thank you. We'll move on to personnel resolutions for this evening. Under 5.1, resignation, upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that the resignation of Wayne Miller, security attendant, be accepted for the purposes of retirement, effective January 11th, 2021, with regret.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded, discussion. All those in favor? Geneva?
Yes.
All those opposed? No one? Motion carries unanimous. 5.2, leave of absence. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that Jolene Younger's request for an unpaid leave of absence for the months of January and February be granted, effective January 4th, 2021 through February 26th, 2021.
So move. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No one? Motion carries unanimous. 5.3, settlement and release agreement. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Ellenville Central School District does hereby approve the settlement and release agreement with employee number 1568, and be it further resolved that the board hereby authorizes the superintendent of schools to execute all documents to effectuate such agreement.
So move. Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No one? Motion carries unanimous. 5.4, resignation. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be it resolved, Board of Education does hereby accept the resignation of Margaret Tully for the purpose of retirement effective December 29th, 2020.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No one? Motion carries unanimous. Budget resolutions.
Motion to move 6.1 and 6.2.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No one? Motion carries unanimous. 7.1.
Motion move. Can I ask a question before we get to 7.1 on that? I know we already passed the resolution. Mrs. Wiles, are we saving any money through all of the extracurriculars that are not taking place this summer,
Yeah,
or
I
this
think-
school year, rather?
I think there is some funds that are being saved. I know that there are other funds that we're spending. The premium holiday really helped us a lot. One of the concerns that we continue to have with the budget, and there has been some discussion with the union because we did have layoffs, and there hasn't, the 20% cut hasn't come to fruition. However, my understanding is that the Division of Budget is really looking at all the regulations and determining if there are any areas where school districts are not meeting the letter of the reg. So like, for instance, transportation, we've had this discussion. The transportation regulations aid schools for the transportation of students. Last year, we used our transportation to deliver food and supplies when, under no cause of our own, did we have those concerns. So yes, we are saving. Yes, we're spending. We'll have a full report as the year goes on. But we are still concerned that while the governor has the December 31st look back has happened, we don't know what's coming with regard to the budget. Even with, and I have to say this, even with any kind of stimulus money, we have to be cautious because stimulus money is not going to supplant or supplement the state budget forever. So we have to be careful and cautious on what we're
When the
doing.
governor ordered us to deliver food via the buses last year and then sent us a letter saying he wasn't paying for that, beside his mandate, did we get anywhere with that, or did?
The transportation lobby is working very hard, and the Division of Budget says they're going to be working with the districts. We haven't seen any details on what that looks
All
like
right,
yet.
thank you.
Thank you. 7.1, resolve the attached list of student IEPs be acknowledged as appropriate, and there are 6.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. All those in favor? Geneva?
Yep, aye.
Opposed? No one? Motion carries unanimous. Under construction, 8.1, resolve that the architect payment for professional services, additional services, and reimbursable expenses, invoice number 72548 in the amount of $69,949.76, be approved for Clark Patterson Lee.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion.
Are we making any move on any of the building plans or projects that we've had?
Yes.
Sure, the plans for the roofs have gone to the state. We're just waiting for them to put their stamp of approval on it. We don't see that being an issue because they've already reviewed it once before with the last project. And if that goes well, we hope to go out to bid this spring for the roofs and at least get the roofs done this summer. And we've had meetings all along, construction meetings, and we're actually looking pretty good. You've seen the furniture for the auditorium. So we are moving along with the other phases of the project.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No one? Motion carries unanimous. 9.1, memorandum of agreement. Resolved that the
Motion
board,
move 9-1 and 9-2.
it has been moved
Second.
and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Mark your calendars. The next meeting is January 26th. Also be aware we are going into budget season, so there will be other meetings coming up to go over our budgets, sharpen your pencils as we go into this. We don't know what's ahead of us. January 26th. Anybody have anything they want to see on the next agenda? No? Oh, yep,
Did
Got
someone else?
one question
yeah.
about the busing for the 19th. Elementary and middle school is 2 different times?
2 different runs, that's correct. And there'll still be the midday run. Elementary school will still be dismissed half-day. So,
Okay. That means I got some figuring to do.
All right. Any other?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it possible to get a list of what we spent in COVID?
yes, Vince
And,
has that.
Yeah, we every time we have an expense that's COVID related, we track it. I can certainly put
Yeah, I'd
that
love
in
to
my
see
next
that.
board report.
Yeah, that'd be
It's gonna surprise you.
Yeah, it's not going to surprise us, I don't think.
Anybody else
It's
have-
unfunded, which is surprising.
Anybody else have anything for the next agenda on the 26th of January? Don will entertain a motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No one? We're adjourned.
You all have a great night.
Yes, you too, Geneva. Good night, everyone.